Oh, it is. It is a Monday episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I am Alex Donno. I'm in a good mood after that weekend, although, as Big Dan already pointed out in the chat, there was one team locally that let us down. That was the Miami. We can give these guys a... Oh my God, that was not a great way to start the show. I lost signal. It's the globalists. Listen, here's what it is. I'm going to drop too many truth bombs today about the Miami Dolphins and about the Miami Hurricanes athletic director search and the head coaching search, even though the job's not even open yet. So the globalists, the elites, the Illuminati, they're trying to shut me down. Well, it is Donno Daily, and yeah, even though the Miami Heat did let us down this weekend, the Miami Hurricanes did not let us down. They beat Virginia Tech. Florida Panthers did not let us down. And the Miami Dolphins, guys, I know it wasn't always pretty. Wasn't the most beautiful Dolphins victory you've ever seen. And I know that the opponent was really bad. But I got to tell you, man, I am old enough to remember when the Miami Dolphins versus the New York Jets used to be a heated rivalry. When the fans absolutely despised each other. When the players absolutely despised each other. You don't have that same kind of intensity, and it's because the Jets have been god-awful forever. The Dolphins have been mediocre or god-awful for a long time, so you don't have that same intensity. But I will take a win over the New York stinking Jets every single day of the week. In a couple of minutes here, I'm going to give you guys some overreactions and some underreactions to Tua Tagovailoa's performance, because even though he played well and the Dolphins won, there's a lot of infighting and a lot of arguing amongst the fan base on certain throws he made, certain decisions he made. So I want to break all of that down. And also, guys, let's not forget, it's not only a rivalry victory over the New York stinking Jets yesterday, it's also a 3-game winning streak for your Miami Dolphins. So what was 1-7 just a few weeks ago is now a 4-7 team. And your next 3 games look winnable. Carolina at home, that's the toughest of the 3, but that is a winnable game on your home turf, okay? The New York Giants at home, that's absolutely a winnable game. And the New York Jets, who you just beat yesterday on the road, you play them at home to close out that stretch. So it's not crazy to think the Miami Dolphins could be 7-7 in a few weeks' time and actually put themselves back in the mix for the playoffs. I don't think they're going to get a playoff spot, but they could be back in the mix for a playoff spot in just a few freaking weeks. So you've got a general manager who we've criticized a lot on this program and on this network, Chris Grier. I mean, those ridiculous trades that he made for all those draft picks for Laramie Tunsil and Minkah Fitzpatrick, misusing so many of those picks. Well, the class of 2020 is still iffy. The class of 2021, though, for the most part, is playing fantastic. And now that the team is winning games again, is Chris Grier saving his job? If you had Brian Flores on the hot seat a few weeks ago, is Flo going to save his job here? We will get into all of that. I want to remind you that this show is proudly served by the official sports bar of Donno Daily, and that's the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Guys, join us tomorrow night. Join us tomorrow night at the Quarterdeck Davie location. That's one of my favorites. I love the Quarterdeck Davie. We're going to be out there watching the Miami Heat and Detroit Pistons tomorrow night. You can meet Ethan. I heard Royal A. Shepherd is coming. Royal A. freaking Shepherd is going to be emceeing that watch party tomorrow. That is going to be so cool. Come hang out with us at the Quarterdeck Davie location. While you're out there, enjoy the fresh seafood. It's so delicious. I love to build my own poke bowl. I love the sushi. The buffalo shrimp is my favorite appetizer on the planet. The fresh mahi-mahi is so good. The sandwiches and burgers. Friends, at the Quarterdeck, they've got 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. That literally never ends. They've got big screen TVs and a big screen outside to watch all the games. And they have every UFC pay-per-view fight at the Quarterdeck for zero cover charge. You pay nothing at the door. If you want to peep their menu before you go or find the location nearest to you, visit them online at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And we have an official sports book. That's betus.com. BetUS is America's favorite sports book, my friend. They offer you the best bonuses in the industry. I've been having so much fun betting on football, betting on UFC fights, betting on basketball, betting on international soccer at betus.com, the 3-decade leader, a mainstay in the industry. Here's something they offer you that the competition is not offering, and we have your hookup. you get the best bonus in the industry if you sign up with our show code. When you sign up at betus.com, it's a full-service sports book. Use our code 5RSN125. Type in our code 5RSN125, and they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. So if you deposit $100, they're going to give you $125 of free play money right on top of your deposit. You deposit $1,000, they're going to give you $1,250 on top of your deposit in free play money. It is so good. And then bet sports, play in the casino, bet horses, pop culture, and more at betus.com. You bet, you win, you get paid. betus.com. So 24-17, Dolphins beat the New York stinking Jets. Let me start with the quarterback. I thought Tua Tagovailoa played pretty well. And my guy, Chris Kaufman, CK Parrott from the 5 Reasons Sports Network, pointed out that Tua is now third in fourth quarter passer rating since 1994. The Dolphins always start games very strong on offense. They tend to score touchdowns on their first drive, scripted plays every single game. And Tua's been really good in fourth quarters, completed 82% of his passes yesterday. We're going to talk about the deep ball. Now, I'm not going to paint a picture like everything was perfect. La, 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 la. Let's do cartwheels and hold hands and sing Kumbaya because we've got our franchise quarterback, future Hall of Famer. I'm not going to go crazy here, okay? I'm not going to go crazy because the interception he threw was really bad, and Dolphins should be thankful that the Jets have an awful kicker, Mr. Amendola, who missed 2 kicks yesterday, a couple makeable kicks. And Tua also had some bad decisions and a bad throw on also a poorly called drive near the end, at the end of the first half when the Dolphins were trying to get some points on the board. They ended up missing a field goal of their own. We've got some kicking problems suddenly with the Miami Dolphins. That was a little bit unexpected considering how good Jason Sanders used to be. He's really struggling this year. And Tua did a poor job taking a sack late in the game that, again, thankfully for him, was negated by the fact that the Jets committed a defensive holding call, so the play was wiped off the board anyway. So it wasn't all great for Tua Tagovailoa, but he did have a good game. Now, Donno has been crazy since the start of the show, David writes in. I don't know. Am I extra crazy today? I don't know, but I wanted to go through. And by the way, let me go off our guest list for today. At about 3:15, Monday staple, Alfredo Arteaga is going to join us to talk some Miami Dolphins. I'll ask him if there's now an opportunity, if they keep winning, for Chris Grier and Brian Flores to both save their jobs. Now, Grier, I think the seat was and probably should still be very hot. For Flores, lukewarm, right? I mean, a few weeks ago, some bad coaching calls. I think he did an awful job with the offensive coordinator situation, but his seat, I don't believe, was ever as hot as Chris Grier's. But could they both save their jobs by the end of the year? But I want to go through some overreactions and some underreactions to Tua Tagovailoa, not only his performance yesterday, but the season that he's having. I'm going to call this one an overreaction, and I quote some of the Tua stands here. Oh my God, you guys, Tua, he completed 82% of his passes against the Jets, was nearly perfect in the fourth quarter. Here he is, the second coming. That's an overreaction. And I see the Tua stands, which are, they're cult members, like the Tua Tagovailoa stands. And I used to be a Tua stan. They are essentially cult members. These cult members are trying to argue that Mac Jones sucks. Tua Tagovailoa is so much better. They still try to argue that Justin Herbert isn't any good. He had like a few bad games this year, but come on. I would take Justin Herbert over Tua Tagovailoa in a heartbeat. So the Tua stands, they are a religious cult, and they're doing cartwheels and they're doing somersaults after Tua's performance against the Jets yesterday. Here's the reality, and I'm not saying I'm not happy Tua had a good game. He had a fine game yesterday, and I'm glad, okay? But the overreaction to that goes like this. The New York Jets, let's realize, guys, they have the worst total defense in the NFL when it comes to yards given up, and also the worst passing defense in the NFL. In fact, Tua's yardage total yesterday through the year was actually under what the New York Jets give up per game. They give up 282.2 passing yards per game. So don't get me wrong. Good quarterbacks need to exploit bad defenses and an inexperienced secondary. And Tua did that. And I'm happy he did that. He played well. I'm just not going to go so crazy over a performance against a bad defense where you're supposed to play well at the quarterback position, and Tua did play well. So thank you, Tua, for doing that, but it's not like he did that against the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense or the 2000 Baltimore Ravens defense. So that's an overreaction. Now, here's an underreaction, because I want to give Mr. Tagovailoa credit for this one, and a lot of people are trying not to, okay? Underreaction are people saying that Tua's deep ball to Mac Hollins, 65-yard touchdown, was not impressive because Hollins was wide open and Tua's velocity didn't look good on that throw. I'm going to debunk that myth, okay? Because if you look through that entire play, the way that it transpired, that was excellence at the quarterback position. Tua did an awesome job on that play, stepping into the pocket, eluding pressure because pressure was coming for him. He went through his progressions to identify a busted coverage because Hollins was not his first read on that throw. And then when he actually threw the football, the ball traveled 52 yards in the air. The run after the catch was about 13 yards. And Hollins did a nice job because they tried to push him out of bounds. He kept his balance, got into the end zone. That was awesome. But the throw itself traveled 52 yards in the air, which is impressive, especially for a guy like Tua, who's not known for his arm strength and his velocity. He's not known to have a rocket arm. So I thought that that was an underreaction. The people that are trying to debunk that deep throw by Tua, that was a nice throw. Now, an overreaction. Manny, can you pull up for me that Twitter poll that the 5 Reasons Sports account put up there about Tua Tagovailoa and Tyler Van Dyke of the Miami Hurricanes? I was trying to get more people to vote for the proper answer on that one. Okay, so Manny's going to pull it up so you guys can see it for yourselves. Okay, and then Manny, vote so that just vote for whoever. I don't care who you vote for. Just vote so we can see the results. Okay, just vote, and there you have it. So the poll is: who are you more sold on as the quarterback of his respected team? Tyler Van Dyke at the U or Tua Tagovailoa for the Miami Dolphins? And you see the live results there. 53.7% voting for Tua over Tyler Van Dyke. Now, I'm calling shenanigans on that bullshit right there with that voting, okay? Because I think what's happening here is you've got some folks who are Dolphins fans voting on that poll who are Dolphins fans, but then they're Florida State fans or Florida Gator fans. You don't have enough Canes fan / Dolphins fans voting for that. Because again, I like Mr. Tagovailoa, but Tyler Van Dyke is the truth. Tyler Van Dyke rolls out of bed in the morning and throws video game numbers every freaking game. Like, you appreciate what you're seeing with TVD at the U. Every time that guy suits up, he's throwing for over 320, over 340, over 350. He's thrown for 400 yards in a game already this season. And he makes it look so ordinary and he makes it look so easy. And the guy is a freaking freshman quarterback. So the fact that less than 50% are voting for Tyler Van Dyke to me is crazy. Also, I was accusing people of being Tua cult members. Brooklyn Rob says Mush is a TVD cult member. I've had plenty of opportunities to mush Tyler Van Dyke. I've had plenty of opportunities. I mean, I go to the church of Tyler Van Dyke every single Saturday, and I sing this guy's praises, and yet he is still performing at an uber high level. So if Tyler Van Dyke was mushable, believe me, TVD would have been mushed by me by now, okay? And B. Smokey writes in, Tyler Van Dyke is the next Ken Dorsey. I'm sure that you mean excellence, but they're very different quarterbacks because Ken Dorsey was like the conductor of an orchestra, right? But Tyler Van Dyke, he is a thoroughbred. So I'm not saying he's going to have the type of success that Ken Dorsey had. We can only pray. We can only pray that Tyler Van Dyke, gets to play in 2 national championship games, wins a national title, gets in the mix, for top 3, top 4, if not number 1 every single year. But as far as the actual quarterbacks go, Tyler Van Dyke has physical gifts that Ken Dorsey was just not blessed by the good Lord with. So, yeah, listen, I think it's ludicrous that more than half the people who responded to that poll said that they are more satisfied with Tua at the Dolphins than Tyler Van Dyke at the U. Because Tyler Van Dyke, if anything, when we're talking about the coaches Miami might be looking to bring in, Mario Cristobal, Lane Kiffin, this job, not only money is important. I know they have to open up the wallets, the UM administration, but This job is being made a lot more attractive right now, especially for offensive-minded head coaches, by the fact that you get to coach Tyler Van Dyke, and you've also got Jake Garcia in the pipeline, who I think is going to be really good. And I'll be really mad if Jake Garcia transfers, because TVD looks so good that this might be the type of guy who plays one more year of college and then he's off, right? Because he's eligible next year. Next year will be his third year as a collegian, was a redshirt last year. Tyler Van Dyke could play one more season. If he plays for a full year the way he's playing right now, that dude could be playing on Sundays 2 years from now. And then Jake Garcia, after redshirting, will still have, 2 or 3 years, 3 years of eligibility after Tyler Van Dyke moves on. So I hope he doesn't do that. So I think people talking about Tua being better with the Dolphins than TVD with the Canes, that is an overreaction. I'll give you one more. This is an underreaction, and this is a good segue for our first guest, who we're going to bring in, Alfredo Arteaga, in just a moment. So this is a quote from the Tua Stands. "I'm not concerned with Tua's durability. I had people tweeting me today, look at how many backup quarterbacks have played this season in the NFL. I had some guy, and I like this dude a lot. I'm not ripping him. I'm ripping the comment. I had some guy tell me, hey, Tom Brady once missed an entire season. You're talking about the Tom Brady who's played 20 fucking years in the NFL and missed one season out of 2 decades and has been durable for most of that. Like, you cannot compare Tom Brady's durability to Tua Tagovailoa's durability. I'm sorry, okay? So, if you look at the numbers so far, and thankfully Tua at Miami has not suffered any serious injuries, and I hope it stays that way, but Tua has missed 4 starts this season due to injury. He's missed the majority of 2 additional games due to injuries. And going back to last year, not including the first 5 games of the season last year before he was introduced as the starter, Tua did miss a start last year as well. So he's missed 5 starts and additional time in extra games in 2 seasons in the NFL due to injury. So, I mean, listen, his durability challenges, they go back to Alabama. I can understand if there is a bit of buyer's remorse due to his lack of size and his durability. And so let me ask our first guest on this show. Does a tremendous job on 3 yards per carry on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. It's become a Monday tradition to break down the Miami Dolphins with Alfredo Arteaga. Alf, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great.
So, and you've been tweeting a lot about Tua today, and so I thought that this was a good segue to bring you on with the overreactions and the underreactions. I mean, be real with me here, because I see some people who are part of the cult of Tagovailoa trying to say, oh, his durability is not a concern whatsoever, or they'll just blame it on the offensive line. That's the only reason he ever gets hurt. Are you concerned about Tua's durability if we're talking about him being potentially the franchise quarterback here for another 10, 15 years?
It's becoming the only concern that I have on Tua Tagovailoa. If you really think about it, he's been getting better every single week. And the only thing that hangs over the head of this franchise is if he's going to get injured again and he's going to miss 2 or 3 games. And those 2 or 3 games in a regular season could be the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs, winning the division or not winning the division. After what I've seen this season, I'm pretty certain if he never gets injured against Buffalo, they're in the thick of the playoff hunt and possibly like a game or possibly tied for the division lead right now. So whose fault is that? It's obviously Jacoby Brissett's fault, but if your quarterback is not durable, and availability becomes an issue, it's also his fault in the grand scheme of things.
No, it's very true. So let's examine the micro, because I did think that Tua was very good yesterday overall. Not to say every play was perfect. The interception he threw was bad. Some of the throws he made, but also the play calling was really bad at that final drive of the first half. He took a bad sack that was negated, due to a defensive holding call. So it wasn't perfect, but I thought Tua played very well. And let's talk a little bit, Alf, about the deep ball, because one thing on the flip side of it, I don't want people to think I'm just a Tua hater, because I think some of the Tua haters are a little bit unreasonable with the way they picked apart that throw to Mac Hollins, because you didn't think it looked like it had, not you, but the people out there didn't think it had enough velocity. First of all, that was not his first read. He was under pressure. I thought he did a fantastic job stepping up away from pressure, going through his progressions, identifying the busted coverage, and then the throw itself. yeah, maybe it didn't pass the eye test for some people, was on point, and it traveled 52 yards in the air. I'm sorry. That was impressive.
Yeah, and people don't understand. The problem is that too many people play Madden, and too many people watch too many highlights and think that the highlights that they see on ESPN happen all the time. They do not. There's a stat out there. It's making the rounds. It made the rounds, especially since Tua just had a 51-yard air completion. Do you know how many plus 40-yard air completions Drew Brees had in his entire career?
Ooh, probably one, maybe one or two.
It was one.
One.
It was one. So you can say that Tua's already tied him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And he should have had a second one from last year, right?
That's
They're
true.
rare. Okay. 50-yard air completions. And I went back and I looked at this. All right. Last year there was seven.
In all the league
on Sunday.
Oh wow.
In the entire league.
Wow.
50 plus air yard completions. There was 7 last year. You saw one of them this week. Okay. This year I got to look it up, but I'm pretty certain it's around there. I do know that Josh Allen has 2. So there you go. He has 2. Tua has 1. All right. And Josh Allen has the best arm in football. So they're rare. That pass was perfect. It was a great pass. It was a scissors concept. He came off of the post because he saw that the safety wouldn't budge, but he did notice that the safety's hips were turned the wrong way and kind of biting on the inside route. So what did he do? First thing, he has to evade pressure, right? He steps up and the first thing he sees is, oh my God, the safety is biting on the inside guy. I'm going to have Mac Hollins deep here. And he delivered the football. It hit him in the hands, and he scored. What is there to complain about? Celebrate. Be happy.
With you. I'm absolutely with you. It's
how many quarterbacks screw that up? A ton.
And pretty much everyone we've had here in the last 21 years screws that up. So I know I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it firsthand.
You made a call. It baffled the defense. It worked, and your quarterback executed. You got the best result possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And people still find a way to complain about it. It's crazy. And like Ray Grullon pointed out, the Tua haters will always look for something to pick on him for. And he's shaking his head about that too. I'm sorry, Ray. Stop shaking your head, man. So, okay, 3-game winning streak now for the Dolphins. And you've got 3 winnable-looking games coming up, man. I mean, Carolina at home, the Giants at home, the Jets at home. So we could be talking about being 7-7 in December and being right in the thick of it. So how much do you think has changed with the hot seats? Okay, because I've been saying for most of the year, Chris Grier's seat has been scorching hot, and I thought Flo's seat was getting pretty warm when the team was 1-7. So do you think it's possible that both of them could be saving their jobs?
Yeah, I do believe that Brian Flores is safe.
I agree.
think he's safe pretty much regardless. Chris Grier, I've said it and I've speculated on the show before that they might cook up something like a promotion, quote unquote promotion. All right.
I know that I've gotten one of those before. I know how that works.
Where they tell you, hey, here's like a little bit, here's 2% more in your salary, but you're in charge of nobody and you have no responsibilities here whatsoever.
Didn't they try to do that with Mike Tannenbaum a couple years ago? Like he ended up leaving, but like they didn't fire him, at least not right away. Like they gave him one of those fugazi promotions where he was like the general manager of the inter-office coffee machine or something, and then he ended up leaving and he's on ESPN.
Yeah, and I think that maybe that's something that they might do with Chris Grier. There's going to be a decision to be made in the offseason because they're going to be flush with cap space. They do have those draft picks. Yeah. They still have draft picks, okay? They still have draft picks coming to them, okay? That's when everybody says, oh, wait a minute, you got Jalen Waddle, but you had to pay a high pick. No, you really didn't. You got Jalen Waddle plus a first-round pick for trading out of where you traded. Just because you swapped the picks inside of that first year doesn't mean you lost the pick. You never had that pick. You actually gained a pick with Jalen Waddle. So that's that trade. So they still have those 2 picks coming to them in 2023, and they got 1 pick in 2022. Ton of cap space. I think as soon as the season's over, Stephen Ross is going to look at Chris Grier and he's going to have to make a decision. Is this the guy that I want making long-term commitments with my cap money for the next 2-3 years? And I think that's where there's going to be a meeting. Look, there's something to be said for why Marvin Allen is here. There's no reason for him to be here.
Yeah.
Okay. Marvin Allen should probably be, I don't know, anywhere else as an assistant GM ready to become the GM, or possibly the GM already. Maybe he should have gotten Nick Casario's job. But for whatever reason, we pried him away from Kansas City with more money and less responsibility. What does that tell you? Maybe he knew something was coming down the pike. Who knows? But that's probably where they go.
You know, going back to the Jets game yesterday, from a New York Jets standpoint, you know, I know people may raise an eyebrow at this take and tell me if you agree, but I actually thought that their decision to start Joe Flacco was validated. Like, you know, and he had just gotten back to the New York Jets, within the last week and a half. And yeah, he played there last year, but it was different coaching staff. You know, I'm sure there were plenty of differences on the offenses and on the terminologies and all that. So this guy just shows up, they throw him out there. And I thought he played pretty well. I mean, I know he's 36 and he's got his physical limitations that he didn't have when he and the Ravens used to rip the Dolphins to shreds back in the day. But I actually thought the way that guy was making some quick reads and had some big throws, like the touchdown pass to Elijah Moore, was an instant reaction. I actually thought that the New York Jets decision, Bob Saleh's decision to go with Joe Flacco, a lot of people questioned it. I thought that was validated yesterday.
Yeah, and they were completely honest about it, right? Like they were asked about it during the week, and they said, no, the Dolphins defense is, kind of complicated and very aggressive, and they throw a lot of blitzes, and we need a guy with experience to handle all those blitzes. And sure enough, he did. Last year when they played against Joe Flacco, they blitzed him 51% of the snaps. Mm-hmm. Okay? They completely destroyed the Jets. They shut them out 24-0, right? This year, they seem to have a plan for those blitzes. And if you rewatch the game, and I did this morning, in the fourth quarter, you could see Brian Flores say, you know what? I got my little 7-point lead. I'm not going to give this guy another chance to beat one of my blitzes and get a cheap touchdown. I think that Elijah Moore touchdown, that long Elijah Moore touchdown, kind of freaked out Brian Flores and said, you know what? Your athletes are going to have to beat my athletes on defense the rest of the way after I get this lead. Because if you notice, he throttled down. Like he only brought 5 and occasionally brought 6 just to break up the monotony. But as soon as he got that 7-point lead, he said, you know what? I'm rushing 4 and 5, and I'm covering with my back 6. And I'm not going to let nobody one-on-one. You're not going to get any cheap touchdowns on me. And it worked. And that salted the game away. I thought Flacco was absolutely fabulous in this game.
Same. Who, up until this point of the season, who has impressed you most out of these rookies? Javon Holland, Jalen Waddle, Jalen Phillips?
No, I think it's Javon Holland. Jalen Waddle, you could see it, right? Like, like there's a star there. Yeah. Somewhere in there's a star. And, if you start looking at his numbers, and he's really just one game away. And it could happen at any time. It could happen against Carolina where he has that 160-yard game. And then it starts to put him on pace for 100 catches and 1,100 yards with like 8, 9, 10 touchdowns. We call that an elite season around here, right? Like that's pretty good. Like that usually wins Rookie of the Year any other year, right?
Yeah.
So you got to think that, okay, so you have that. But Javon Holland is a guy who's taking leadership. They're giving him a lot of important stuff to do. And he's not calling the signals on defense. I don't know if you watched him on Sunday, but he was putting people in the right positions. And he's kind of an important player, one of the better players on defense. And I think the arrow's all the way up in Javon Holland. Like it would have surprised me the least bit he makes All-Pro next season. Jalen Phillips, you can see it, right? Like it's gradual. But usually that's how it happens for defensive ends, especially in this system where they ask them to do certain things. They ask them to half rush at sometimes. Sometimes they ask them to just go wide so the defensive tackles can work inside. So he has a lot of responsibility. I think he's getting better as well. But Javon Holland, I think, is the clear cut. Like he's the best pick of the first 2 rounds of this last draft.
Alfredo Arteaga from 3 yards per carry is with us. Your prediction, Alf, coming up for the month of December. Are the Dolphins going to tease us? Are they going to get to 7-7, and then we're thinking, man, we're right there. We're going to compete for a playoff spot, only to let us down? Because it seems to go like that a lot now under Flo. This would be the second year. Do you think it's going to play out that way?
Well, they have everything in front of them, right? And they're getting a lot of help. All of a sudden, the Saints look terrible.
Yeah, and the Titans look terrible.
And the Titans just lost to Houston at home. They lost to Houston at home. We saw that team here 2 weeks ago, right?
They're so bad.
So then you're talking about, okay, so then what's the toughest test you have left the rest of the year is Mac Jones and the New England Patriots, who you already beat. But you faced them this time at home.
Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that, they're going to have to prove it to me, okay? The way you prove it to me is this game coming up on Sunday. I understand that they're 5-6. They just lost a tough one to the Washington football team. But Carolina's really, really talented. They have a lot of talented players. Their issue is, quite frankly, their quarterback is bad. And Cam Newton is still not good. Okay, it may be a nice story that he's doing the Superman chest and screaming that he's back, but he's just not a good quarterback. But they have nice players on offense. They have very good running back, the best in football, Christian McCaffrey. Their defense is good. Their pass rush is good. They have good secondary people. This is a talented team. Dolphins get past this one. I don't see how they're not 7-7 and then pressing for a playoff spot. Because if they do get to 7-7, that little in the hunt graphic, they might be in like the 7th seed after 3 weeks here. So this is the big one on Sunday. All right. When people say there's no big games when you're 4-7, this is a big one. Because get this one, it could be a hop, skip, and a jump to 7-7, and you're all of a sudden in the thick of the playoff hunt.
I got two quickies for you on the way out. First, I want to get your honest take on two questions that both involve Tua Tagovailoa. One of them is that 5 Reasons Sports poll question that Ethan put out there. Who are you more sold on as the quarterback of his respective team, Tyler Van Dyke or Tua Tagovailoa? Now, I already bashed all the people voting for Tua because to me the answer is clearly TBD. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I like Tua a lot.
Same.
And he's growing on me more. Like there was times last year and this year where I was thinking, maybe a trade for Deshaun Watson wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Maybe they could get something for Tua and soften the blow of trading a bunch of picks for Watson. And maybe that could work out. And maybe that's really what they should do. But Tua's growing on me a little bit more every single week. And I'm starting to see the path where he can be elite. Mm-hmm. Get him a good running back. Get him some good tackles. Get him a running game, and you're going to see him take off. Tyler Van Dyke, as a freshman, is doing it already with what you got to say is not too much support.
No, not at all. And receivers, good. Offensive line, no. And the running game is very spotty. So, people who are responding to my tweets about this are talking as if, and yes, Tua's O-line is very bad, but they're talking as if Miami has a great O-line. They do not. I mean, you can argue about which O-line is worse.
Yeah, University of Miami has at left tackle they have Zion Nelson, right? Who everybody had as a top 5 pick in the draft. Then you watch Evan Neal play for Alabama, and you say, okay, he's not top 5. He's probably the second best left tackle. And then you keep watching Zion Nelson play, and you start thinking, you know what? Maybe he's a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Maybe because he, in my opinion, I've watched him all year because obviously, I root for the Dolphins. I want to see the Dolphins do well. I'd like nothing better than for them to draft somebody out of the University of Miami to help them do that. I watched Zion Nelson play. He doesn't look like a first-round pick to me.
No, not to me either.
Okay, so yeah, Tyler Van Dyke. Can you imagine him in the hands of an offensive-minded coach, let's say out of Mississippi maybe, with a house in Boca? That would get me excited. That's box office. That will make me make a call to the administration and say, you know what? How can I get season tickets? I want to see this offense play this year. That'll make me get on in my car and drive up to Doak to see them against FSU. So yes, Tyler Van Dyke.
One more I wanted to ask you because I asked late last week. I was asking a few of my guests, and it was very split. I think 2 answered one way, 2 answered the other way. Who would you prefer quarterbacking your team right now? in the NFL? Tua Tagovailoa or Mac Jones?
Tua Tagovailoa. Mac
I go
Jones
Mac, but maybe I'm just a hater.
Mac Jones is he's quarterbacking in a box. They don't let him do much. They don't let him throw past 20 yards. Against Atlanta, this last game that they played, he threw one pass over 20 yards. It got intercepted. Okay, so they're having him do the bare minimum. He's handcuffed, and unless they cut him loose, you got to see Mac Jones in a more desperate situation to see him succeed. He has a running game. He has a very good offensive line. His pass catchers are not that good aside from his tight ends. So yeah, I take Tua, pretty big over Mac Jones. And like I tweeted out earlier today, we're about 70 pass attempts away from getting a full season sample size on Tua Tagovailoa on his numbers, and those numbers are going to be really, really good. So
I like it.
We're standing right now at 26 touchdowns and 12 picks. With about 2 games worth left to go. If he gets to 30 touchdowns and like 12 picks, like on what planet do we not like that for a 16, 17 game sample?
Yeah. People will find a way to complain no matter what. Alfredo Arteaga does an awesome job. So you guys have a new episode, I imagine, dropping tonight on 3 yards per carry, yes?
Yes, and there'll be one episode this week because of Thanksgiving. We don't make the rules, Thanksgiving is this week, so we'll use that as an excuse to only do one show this week.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Alf. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for having me, Donno.
Awesome as always. Now, our next guest, he celebrates Thanksgiving in October, so he doesn't have to worry about the rest of the week. Our great Canadian friend from the dailystakes.com, Massimo Richo, joins us. And Mass, I know you're a Colts fan. Is that what are you wearing? Is that a Peyton? Oh,
you know it.
That is
you know it.
That is a nice jersey, dude. Thanks. That is a really nice, and it's like, and I try to now. I display jerseys in the background now, and I try to switch them up. I have a lot of because when I was in college, I just went on this jersey buying spree because I had like a weekend job, and I was the biggest idiot in college. Like I didn't understand I could be like saving this money. So the money that I made from my weekend job, I would get the payment, and then I would go like right to the World Wide Web, or I'd go right to the mall, and I would buy jerseys, like throwback jerseys. So I've got behind me, obviously I've got an old school Inter jersey behind me. I've got a number 8 Kobe, old school Kobe, and I've got a Dan Marino University of Pittsburgh throwback behind me. But for some reason, all the jerseys that I bought over the years, like I've got an old Roger Staubach, I've got a Barry Sanders, I've got a what else do I have? Walter Payton. Like I've got a ton of jerseys. I don't know why I've never bought a Payton.
I actually found this one cleaning out my room. I found this and like my old I have a Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison hanging out in there too. Yeah. I got to add a Jonathan Taylor after this weekend, that's for sure.
Bro, I went up, and I think you tweeted about this as well. I went up against Jonathan Taylor in 2 fantasy leagues. I'm in 2 money leagues. I do some other friends. I did a favor, join their free leagues. Haven't checked my lineup since week 1. But in the 2 pay leagues that I'm in, I went up against Jonathan Taylor in both of them, and I got smacked in both of those leagues.
Oh no, it was awful. I had to double check to make sure I wasn't going up against Jonathan Taylor either, because I wasn't sure if I was or not. And I see him go up 2 touchdowns, and I'm like, that's not good. I go check my lineups, like I'm safe. Like those Facebook things, like declared safe from some disaster. Yeah, declared safe from playing Jonathan Taylor in fantasy.
That is too good, man. So Massimo joins us.
Brutal matchup for you this weekend on fantasy.
Oh, tough, man. Massimo joins us from the dailystakes.com. These guys do an awesome job. We'll talk a little bit more about their services, but I want to get some picks here from Mass. And I want to start with Monday Night Football tonight. Now, you guys at the Daily Stakes, and I encourage everybody, follow them on Twitter at the Daily Stakes. You put out a pretty unbelievable stat that Tom Brady, and this is since he joined the Buccaneers, right? He is 0-7 against the spread on primetime games. Has never, his Bucs teams have never beat the spread on prime time. And I'm looking now, Mass, and on our official sportsbook BetUS, I'm looking at Tampa Bay -11. So they've never covered the spread in the Brady era in primetime, and they are giving 11 points tonight. What do you think happens here?
It depends. I don't think they come off flat after last week's loss. They lost prior to their bye week, and then also didn't do so hot against Washington, right? So it's going to be a little tough for them to take a look into this game. But I don't think I think Brady comes out with a vengeance. I really don't see them not coming out flat like they did the last two games. Do they cover the spread? It all depends, right? Their stats prime time don't look very good, so we'll see what happens. I do think though that if there's anything to kind of take a look at here in this game in terms of a bet, I'd probably go a player prop versus anything because nothing really looks safe here. The over under at opened at 50 and 50.5, moved to 49.5. I don't think the Giants could put up those numbers to kind of help carry the over. And you never know with obviously that high-powered Tampa Bay offense because they could literally just cover the spread on their own if they cover the over on their own if they wanted to.
That's true.
So it's a bit dicey, and there's no value in really picking up a straight-up winner here. So the way I would kind of go at it and kind of taking a look at the trends, I would probably take a player prop, and I've been really hot this weekend.
I noted. I wanted to mention that your player props have been on point, and I freaking love it because personally, I'm really bad at picking my own player props. So like, and I always say this. I say this to you. I say this to Nick and Dylan. That I love the fact that you guys at the Daily Stakes are so good and so active with looking up these player props because that's a part of my own betting game that is very underdeveloped. Let's say.
Well, Alex, you have my number. You have direct access to the bat line. Just hit me up when you're looking at a player prop. I'm gonna go with Leonard Fournette touchdown. I think he's due. I don't think he did so well the last few games. I haven't really checked, but he's usually good for a touchdown. He seems to be a central piece here because they haven't really been able to establish the run last year, and this year it looks like he kind of took a hold of that backfield over Ronald Jones, who I still believe is the more talented running back. But with Bruce Arians and Tom Brady, the minute you start not taking care of that football, and that seems to be Rojo's biggest issue, is ball protection. You're officially banished to the bench.
Yeah.
So. They have Gio Bernard now in the passing game over him, so it's tough. So Leonard Fournette would be the play here, a touchdown.
I like that a lot. Now, a couple of NBA games I wanted your take on. One of them is tonight, and then I wanted to see if you guys have anything on the Miami Heat game tomorrow night. But let me start with tonight. Now, I don't know if you can relate to this. Because I don't know, you might be a night owl. I'm an earlier to bed kind of guy. So if I can get in something on a 7 p.m. NBA game, I feel like a kid in a candy store because it's like quick gratification. And this game is pretty relevant in the Eastern Conference standings. Okay. You've got the Charlotte Hornets at the Washington Wizards tonight. Wizards are 4.5-point favorites, and the over-under in this one is 216. Do you guys like anything here, whether it be spread, over-under, and those famous player props you guys love?
We're looking more at a player prop here because it's going to be it's just another one of those trickier games. I think the teams can carry themselves, but we're really liking the Bradley Beal over 35.5 total points. So that's definitely a lock on our end. He's averaging 23.6 points a game, 5.2 rebounds, and 5.9 assists. So it's looking really good. So if there's anything to look at here, it'd probably be the player prop for Bradley Beal. So definitely the over on total points, rebounds, and assists. Plus, he plays much better at home. So it's a lot more enticing to make that pick there.
Now, what about for tomorrow? And I know that the NBA is not like the NFL, so even looking 24 hours in advance is sometimes complicated. But I know the Heat won't be. I don't think the Pistons will be on a back-to-back either. So the Heat tomorrow, 11-6, they're coming off a loss to the Wizards on the road a couple of nights ago. They're going to face the Pistons on the road. Pistons at 4-12. They're struggling. This should be a winnable game, but do you think the Heat win this handily and cover?
I think the Heat do win this. Cover's a bit tricky. The Pistons might come out heated after that incident yesterday. I know
that's right.
So I think they're gonna kind of come out and kind of try and prove a point here. But I think the Heat should cover this one. Should get the win easily. In terms of covering, might be a bit dicier.
What did you think, by the way, about that elbow or that punch, whatever you want to call it, that LeBron James threw? I think it was shameful, and people are trying to defend this guy. It's like, come on, I know he's LeBron, and some of you people worship him. You know, maybe you just love the fact that he loves communist China so much. I don't know what it is, but what did you think about that move?
It was unnecessary. Just the way you kind of saw him tied up on the line on that free throw, he had his elbow up already, so it was only going to end one way. I feel like they let him get away with a little too much, though. They really do. But I sound like that old bitterhead because I've seen like Jordan play and the way they used to foul him, and
yeah,
I don't think he would have been able to survive in that era of basketball.
No.
LeBron, he's too soft. He complains. He knows what kind of star power he commands, and he feels like he can kind of get away with whatever he wants. So it was unnecessary. I would be heated too if I was who was it? Isaiah Stewart?
Yeah.
He looked pretty bloodied up there. That's a serious elbow he took to the face with all that blood. They let him get away with too much. I really do think so.
Before we let you run, I have to ask you now. Mas he's a big Roma supporter in the Serie A, so we both had good weekends. We both won our games. You tell I can't pronounce this dude's name. Tell me about this teenager who looked incredible and scored 2 goals for Roma.
Afengian?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
You make it look so easy. Like the way the name is spelled, I look at it and I have a panic attack. Like,
it's like hyphen. It's hyphenated. He's a youth product that we've had in the Primavera, and he showed some promise. We kind of played him sporadically here and there throughout the earlier parts of the season because of obviously the heavier schedule with obviously we're playing the Conference League, some weird third-rate Champions League
the
division.
NIT for the NIT. It's like
super weird. He's shown some flashes and he seems to be one of the more promising prospects in our Primavera. There's a couple of guys we had that kind of come up a bit flat, like Calafiori, who had really high hopes on, but the 2 goals he scored yesterday, especially the second curler, was unreal. And he has that killer instinct that we've kind of been lacking a bit up front with converting some goals. But I mean, the whole team's been kind of snake bitten with the woodwork and their chances. But it's a good turnout for him because Mourinho is going to show a bit more faith in him and he might get more playing time. So it'll help him develop. I'm really liking what I saw yesterday. It was a bit worrisome because we had Mkhitaryan's goal called back early on as well. So we'll see. So far, I'm liking that Mourinho is kind of showing a bit of trust in some of the younger guys off the bench. So it should be good going into the second half of the Serie A season after the holidays.
Well, that was cool, and congratulations as well to your Colts who beat up Buffalo. Buffalo they're in the mud now. The Patriots are on top of the division. So this was a really interesting sports weekend. Mass, thank you so much. And of course, he's from the dailystakes.com. I'll tell you a little bit more in a second about what they have going on. Thank you so much, sir, and enjoy the rest of your week. And I know it's not Thanksgiving north of the border this week, but if you do get a chance to eat some turkey up there, I will be proud of you for that.
Thanks, Alex, and happy Thanksgiving to you guys and your listeners down south.
Thank you so much. Awesome stuff there. Yeah, they do their Thanksgiving in October, which is fine. I just wonder why we have 2 separate Thanksgivings. It doesn't seem necessary. We should unify United States and Canada. Just unify your Thanksgivings. But guys, I want to tell you about the dailystakes.com. Hold on, I want to get their banner up so you can see it for yourselves. Here we go. The magic of live video. The Daily Stakes will change the way you bet on sports. They empower you with the same analytics that are used by both the sharps and by the sports books. Daily Stakes founders, Nick and Dylan, and our guy Mass, who we just talked to, they are massive sports fans, and they come from the professional backgrounds in finance modeling, corporate consulting, and data analytics. In other words, these guys are a lot smarter than me and probably smarter than most of you as well, and they understand all aspects of the sports betting industry inside and out, from the eye test to the analytics to the trends, and how to harness all of that knowledge to give you the edge you need to win. They give you an actionable information and data formula, an analysis that you need in order to use the data the pros use to help you win your bets consistently. They offer comprehensive coverage of all the major sports leagues, including the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, and the UFC, which I love. Their track record is proven and transparent. You can track their picks right there on their website, so you know that these guys aren't making up shenanigans. Because I've listened to some of these grifters in the sports betting space, who, when they actually give out their picks, they'll go 2-3, and then when they talk about it the following week, yeah, we went 5-0 on our picks last week. No, you're grifters. The Daily Stakes, they are not grifters. These guys know what they're doing. Members, if you join their site, you can unlock exclusive perks like weekly giveaways and contests. Become a member today, and you can unlock, by the way, guys, you really have nothing to lose here. You can unlock an all sports trial for 7 days for only 99 cents. So you can see what their service is all about for a week for just $1. You can try out everything, get the analytics for all the sports they cover. If you want to then sign up full time, you can pick the sports league of your choice, like the NFL or the NBA, for just $14.99 a month, or the best deal of them all. And there's no debating this. And this, to me, I think this is the best deal in the sports betting space, period. You can get the all sports plan. So you get all the leagues for $29.99 per month. Play smarter, bet smarter with the Daily Stakes. Sign up at thedailystakes.com. It's been a fun one today. Going to have a few notes here before we wrap it up, and we'll do some shout outs as well. Ricky J. Mark, because the European settlers that committed genocide against the Native Americans in what is now Canada did it on a different schedule. This is the comment of the day. When I first started reading this, I didn't know where this was going because I didn't read this before. This is fantastic, because the European settlers that committed genocide against the Native Americans in what is now Canada did it on a different schedule than the genocidal maniacs that now occupy the United States. So that, my friends, that is why Canada, they celebrate in October, and why we celebrate in November. Oh my God. That I hate to give it to, a guy who works on this platform, but that is the comment of the day. That is absolutely the comment of the day so far. Woo. So I don't know. I'm checking. I'm checking if anybody has seen anything within the last 52 minutes since I went live, because there were some rumors over the last couple of days. And Mike Ryan from the Levitard Show, who's he definitely has a good source or two, because he's been spot on with some things. He said that we might even expect an announcement on the new athletic director today. It's not happened yet, to my knowledge, but the day is still going on. The day is not over yet. I wonder who it could be. Maybe Juric, who is not, or Juric. I don't know if it's a silent J or a soft J. But since he's on the market, that could be someone that could bring in more quickly. I hope it's not, for athletic director, I hope it's not Alonzo Highsmith or Gino Torretta. I would love to have either of them working with the football program specifically, but I want the AD to be someone who has actually done that job, athletic director at a big institution, to have that experience, because I don't want to gamble on this hire. I do not want to roll the dice on this hire to replace Blake James, because I believe this is too important. I mean, if they can find a really good football position for somebody like Alonzo Highsmith, I am all for it. I just, no disrespect to him, I just don't want to take the gamble on someone who's never been an athletic director before becoming our athletic director. So I hope it is someone with experience in that position. I got to tell you, with talking to some people behind the scenes here that know some things, I am, without giving anything away that's going to burn anybody here, because I was told not to repeat some things, but I'm feeling somewhat confident about Mario Cristobal. And I heard there was a D Money from Kane's Insight had a long tweet today with some stuff, and it seems like he and I might talk to some of the same people, because he was pretty spot on with some things, and he probably doesn't want to get too specific either, to burn anything in confidence. But I'm feeling somewhat confident in Mario Cristobal, and I'll echo what D Money said, in that I think college football playoff with Oregon was a big obstacle, right, that could have affected whether or not Cristobal would leave Oregon to come to Miami. It would be a lot harder to do that if Oregon qualified for the college football playoff. And with them, getting beaten by Utah. Playoffs are really out of the picture there for them now. So that could move Mario closer to Miami. And yeah, everything, and including what our friend Alfredo Arteaga, who joined us earlier, was reporting earlier in the week, and then that was echoed by Fox Sports and the Andy Slater scoop, that Lane Kiffin would not say no if offered the job, assuming the money was where it needs to be. So it sounds to me like Mario is probably going to be the guy, and if it's not Mario, they could have Lane Kiffin if they wanted to. So that either of those would make me feel good as a Miami fan. So that's where we're at. Let me run through some shout outs. David, hello. He was asking Ricky J. Mark to slap me. There's a long line of people who want to slap me now. Manny Chang, I think, is at the front of that line. Hussam Patel is in that line. I think David is. I don't know if Ricky wants to slap me. He may or may not, but I think David wants to slap me. I probably deserve it. And hello again. Thank you to Ricky J. Mark for watching. And we'll have Ricky back on the show because he is one of our show favorites here. NFL Nick, thank you so much. Joseph Rodriguez, our guy. B. Smokey, Ray Grullon, Louis Sung Jr., who is actually the father of Louis Sung from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I love when both Louises join in. Louis Sung Sr., you are the man. And he sent me an awesome picture because I sent out a nice tweet about my son, my 3-year-old, who I just freaking adore. And I sent out a picture with him. And then Louis Sr. sent me a really cool picture of him with a very young Louis Sung Jr. And I thought that picture was awesome. Thanks so much to Mass. And Mass, thank you for joining the show as well. Thank you to Joe Carrasco for joining in. Johnny Be Good, Big Dan 305, Chris Roden. Who else? Brooklyn Rob, hello. PB Matthew, thank you so much for joining in. Devin Jordan, thank you so much. He says, I agree with you 100%. Tua played okay, but come on, it was the Jets defense. Also, the leader of the Tua cult is your boy Big O. I know he's super high on Tua, and it's fine. I mean, if people want to worship this dude for whatever reason, I think Tua could end up being a really good quarterback. I just think that the way people do cartwheels when he has a decent game against the work, and you know what I think it is with Dolphin fans. You've been watching below average quarterback play for so many years that all of a sudden you get above average quarterback play and you want to anoint the guy playing above average. I want to see more. I want to see the continued growth, but yeah, I'm not gonna go crazy over that performance yesterday the way some people are. Zachary B, thank you so much. Le Cheap Shot. That's a great name for LeBron. I mean, the guy thinks he can get away with anything. Not only is LeBron not as good at basketball as Michael Jordan was, LeBron also made a really shitty Space Jam movie. Michael Jordan's Space Jam was way better. LeBron's Space Jam, 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's certified rotten. I will never watch that movie. Let's see who else. Want to make sure I shout out everybody who joined in the live chat. I always miss people, by the way. So if I miss you, I apologize because it never lets me scroll up to the very beginning of the show. So it is what it is. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you support our sponsors. BetUS.com, America's favorite sports book. Sorry if I'm a little bit distracted. I'm trying to pull up the slide because Manny had to leave a little bit early. Sign up at BetUS.com. It's a full-service sports book. It's like having Las Vegas in your pocket. Sign up at BetUS.com and use our code 5RSN125 to receive a 125% sign-up bonus. Best bonus in the industry. You're not going to get that on any other site or any other app, believe me. And guys, tomorrow night, Miami Heat at Detroit Pistons. Join us at the Quarterdeck Davie location, the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Make this your spot to watch every big game and every big fight. TVs covering every wall, delicious food, 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. All right, guys, that will do it for this episode. I will talk to everyone again tomorrow. We'll have another fun show planned. Same time, same place, 3 p.m. right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Ciao.